Good morning, everybody. It's Positive Tuesday today, October 20th, 2020. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. Fitzy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm just setting it up so I can read all the comments. So I'm all ready to go. Happy to be here. It's going to be a great day.
Oh, good. Yeah, we got snow coming and everything.
Yeah, now I'm set. Now I'm all set.
yeah, we'll talk about the snow stuff later. So as always, every time we start, we always kind of like to just kind of go through anything positive that has been happening in your life since the last time we chatted, which was just a week ago. So what's going on in your life?
You know, my son played some hockey this weekend. I was able to go to a couple of those games and watch him play for a team Wisconsin, and I'm pretty excited to watch him. He got an opportunity to play with this other team that asked him to play. So did that all weekend and just didn't do much and responded to a lot of emails and questions, and we'll get into that. And that's good with that. And no, a lot of good things have happened over the last 48 hours, and I'm pretty excited about the direction we're going.
Yeah, obviously you put that press release out with announcements, so we'll get in that in a second. But go back. So did you say? I'm sorry, I was trying to fix an audio thing here. You went somewhere for hockey?
Yeah, just to Somerset to play hockey. He played on a team. I was asked to play on a team that made up of players all over Wisconsin called Team Wisconsin, and he got to be an alternate for that team and got to play some games this weekend. So it was kind of fun to play some hockey.
That's a real original name.
Yeah.
Players from all over hockey, we call it team, or all over Wisconsin, we call it Team Wisconsin.
Yeah, and they were literally from all over Wisconsin. It was kind of it's something we had never done. Played an upper level hockey division, and it was pretty fun to watch some good hockey. There's some good kids out there playing hockey. So youth hockey has started back up, and I'm part of that. And we had tryouts last night for our youth hockey program, and so I'm excited that these kids are still getting some opportunities to play some sports. I know football's still going on and things like that. So it's pretty fun to have some opportunities for our kids to get out. It's actually some relief for some parents to get out and talk to other parents. I mean, there's a lot of masks and social distancing, and there was limits on how many people could attend games, and all that safety stuff was put into play. But there isn't a lot of fans that come to these, so it's basically just two parents go, and so there's a big hockey rink with 40 parents in it. There's plenty of space to spread out, but the parents get to talk to other real live people instead of Facebook and on the phone and things like that. So it's good. I mean, all of the CDC recommendations are followed, and locker room cleans and all these kids things, and we'll get into some of that, I'm sure, with COVID. But what'd you do all weekend?
Well, my wife hired me to be her campaign manager.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I advised her that she should. I had put out a political ad against her last week. So then she hired me to be her campaign, so I had to find another ad from another politician in order to put that out. So she ran an attack ad against me. So I don't know if that's really positive, but yeah. So that's all right. I got some more. So that all kind of started with, on Facebook and all your news feed, you see all these ads and politicians and attack ads. And it gets kind of seeing them all the time. So I just had this idea when I saw one. I'm like, I could pretty much just recreate that in like Canva or Photoshop or something. And I'll just do something dumb, right? Like a satirical thing with it. And it just kind of took off from there. And now I guess there's going to be more coming soon.
So you're part of the problem of this attack ad thing we want to try to get away from.
I know,
the hate in America is started by Ben Dryden.
Yeah, but it's positive for me because now every time I see one of those ads, I don't think it negatively. It doesn't suck my energy anymore. I go, ooh, I should recreate that one. Oh, I could recreate that one. So I'll explain more.
A good thing.
Yeah, I'll explain more of that if we get time at the end of the show on how that's going. So, so obviously we always go through a few of these things, but then we like to get right into any press releases or any stories that I've done since we've last chatted, or any press releases you've sent. So on Friday, I did an updated story about Justin Cloud. This was, I think it was titled, Court Sentences Man on Reduced Charges in Barron County Arson Case. Right. So you had done a press release on May 18th You sent that out. Of course, we published it, and then every time you send a press release, we put on a list and follow these, these cases until the end. So there was an update, and he was sentenced, court-ordered, withheld sentence, 2 years probation, 30 days jail, which may be served by 240 hours community service, work to be completed with 1 year. Anything that you wanted to add to that? I'm not sure how familiar you are with that case. I'm assuming somewhat if you sent the press release originally.
No, I'm familiar with that. He was a fireman that had went out and set a couple fires. And the fires were, and don't quote me exactly, although we're quoted a lot on this show, so we need to be careful what we say. But I believe it was just grass fires he was setting, not just grass fires. Again, he was setting illegal fires, but they weren't two buildings, I believe. They didn't put any structures in, and I think that's part of why there was a reduction in sentence. Also, he was very sorry, and he was, regretted what he did. I mean, I think there was a lot of learning. I don't know what the issues behind it were, and maybe that's what the judge took into account. But again, I don't have any problem with that reduction in sentence because it's to make people better, and I don't know that jail time is the right thing for him. I mean, maybe some jail time if he doesn't want to do community service. I think that's why the judge did something like that. I think that's okay.
I'd take the jail time.
I
don't do the manual labor. I don't do work, actual work. So no, I'll just sit in jail. As long as I can have my laptop, I could probably just run DrydenWire away from jail. Boy, you think of the stories I would get just by sitting there with all the people coming in.
All the truth you'd get, yeah.
The truth.
By you saying that though, that's you're giving your opponent some information for the next attack ad.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, you got to be careful. So
that's great. Well, then of course, you put out something just yesterday.
Yep.
I think I put the headline, Sheriff Fitzgerald, calling Citizen Advisory and Action Team to be created. There was, and I have a copy of it here as well. You went through a lot of things. You discussed the things that were happening regarding Embrace. And you can talk about any of that stuff that you want to talk about. I'm really kind of more curious about the actual advisory and the action team you had. I think we've already been coming up with either a list of people or the types of people or professions, I should say, for this team. So just walk us through what is this and how did this come about?
Sure. Well, it came about obviously from the story with Embrace, and I think there needs to be a couple things that we set forward that we talk about, but then we're going to move forward. And I think somebody asked me this question: would you have done it differently now? And I've been accused of backtracking, and this statement was to backtrack. And I didn't backtrack because you only backtrack if you change your position. I didn't change my position, but I listened to a lot of people, and you've always complimented me on our transparency. And I don't have to do this. I don't have to put myself out there. I choose to do that because I think that's what's right for Barron County. That's how we make our county better. And I would have done a few things a little differently, but I think we'd be in the same spot we are today. And because Embrace has a stance, the Sheriff's Department has a stance, and those two just don't go together. Some people think they should. We chose to do this very quietly. We just left Embrace. We didn't tell Embrace they had to stop advocating. We didn't tell Embrace to stop serving people. In fact, we continued to serve them. And in fact, I'm part of End Domestic Abuse Barron County, which is giving money to victims. Still currently, most of those victims are referred from Embrace, and I'm still giving money to help victims. So I think there was a lot of outside influences in this story, and that's okay. But there was also a lot of hate, and the hate stops now. And that's where we learned a lot from this. But the hate stops now. There's ways to do. Why we came up with the Citizen Action Committee is because there were some very respectable people, a lady from Rice Lake, a lady from Florida, and actually a lady from the Cameron area that sent me very respectable notes and calls and said, they saw our side. They didn't like our side, but they saw part of our side. They still don't think we should have done what we did, or the county shouldn't have. I didn't take their money away. Obviously, I was part of that discussion, but I didn't have a vote. If I had a vote for the county board, I'd vote for the Sheriff's Department every time. that I don't win all,
Yeah.
all the votes would be, I wouldn't have to worry about a vote ever if I got to control the county board. I don't control the county board. Those members make their own decisions. And, I didn't, I was part of having some discussions with DHS Frolic. That money that is taken away is, they have about a $700,000 budget. They took $25,000 away, but I get it, people. Every dollar is important to victims. We're working on a solution, I hope. We can get to a solution. What that solution is out of my hands. It's part of DHS Director Frolic's and the county board's decision. I don't get to make a decision about where public health or the highway puts their money. I don't get to make those decisions. Now, am I influential in the community? And that's what people told me I should be, is more influential and listen more. So that's where we came up with this citizen action team, because one, there's so much hate out there that we have to stop hating. But I also think we can be better every day. Everybody can be better every day. And I'm very happy that Embrace raised a bunch of money.
Yeah, holy buckets. Good for them.
Yeah.
That's
hey,
awesome.
What did we try to do for Embrace 3 months ago?
Yeah, we should have just done this a long time ago.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't. But
I was just saying, wow, I mean, fantastic.
Right. Yeah. And but yeah, I'm very happy people are giving to Embrace. I have no problem with that. I'm very happy for Embrace. But they also need to see, I hope they see our side. And that's what I tried to explain in this about how law enforcement felt very marginalized about a major partner with us. We work very hard for them. We raised $1,000 for them, and we didn't like that. We thought we would raise a lot more. Yeah. We were hoping to get Embrace $10,000. We thought, we can do it. But turns out, they just needed this, and that's great for Embrace. We have no issue with them. They're still serving our victims. I was at a domestic last night. I backed up the Rice Lake police officers. They were filling out all the Embrace paperwork and sending it to Embrace. So that is continuing, and we'll get through some of these other issues. But I'm glad this happened. I'm very excited about the Citizen Action Team. It's a Citizen Advisory and Action Team, and I came up with the name. They can change their name after they pick, but a lot of people, I listened to a lot of people. I've responded to every single note that was sent to me, even the notes.
Hold on. When you say note, what do you mean?
Emails, not text messages, voicemail messages, Facebook messages.
Everyone? How many think you received? Just ballpark. 10?
10? No, hundreds.
Hundreds as in hundreds?
Yeah, and I had a lot of good conversation with people on Facebook yesterday, back and forth in a very somewhat respectable way. I mean, I was respected.
By the way, real quick, that was excellent, because usually, we get all the whatever on our page. Mm-hmm. This was the first time I actually kept going back to someone else's page just to look through all the comments.
Yeah.
And it was on your page because, there was a lot. And I saw you responded to a whole bunch of them. I mean, the best that you could, because you just can't respond to some people, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe you can. But that's why it's interesting. You have hundreds of them, and you responded to all those emails and calls.
Yep. Yep. And I learned a lot from them. And that's where this idea came from. This idea was always in my head, but, I said it after other cases and like the tornado and some other major cases we have. And I don't want to keep going back to them, but that's where people came together. And somebody pointed that out to me as like, you bring people together so well, let's do it on this time. And I still stand strong on our issue. I still believe in it. It's not an issue about race, and I know some people still feel it is. But I talked to a lot of people about that, and we're going to get to a better place in Barron County because of this for everyone. And that's what this team is going to do. It's a cross-section team I hope to create and select. And I tell you, I have about 11 or 13. I think there's 11 or 12, I should say, members that have already applied. That the cross section is amazing. I'm very, very excited about this committee. It's what I need personally. It's what I think our department needs, and I think it's what our community needs. I want to take on some of these issues that people bring up, because I don't know about every issue unless I get told about it. And so.
So for the people who don't know or haven't read it, first of all, it's on the Barron County Sheriff's Department Facebook page. It's on DrydenWire.com as well. It's the same thing. You send it as a press release the same time you put it on your page. For those who don't know, one, read it. But two, what's the bullet point? What is this exactly?
Sure. I'm going to read the whole paragraph here.
Oh, sure.
That's part of it. It says, we can all do and be better every day, including law enforcement. So that's why I'm launching a citizen advisory and action team for the department. I'm creating a diverse team that will advise and challenge not only me and our department, but this community. there's a lot of passion when I talk to people, and it was pointed out to me to my job is to bring people together. There's also a lot of anger and hate, a majority from outside of Barron County, which is a different topic for a different day, and we'll need to deal with this. We will talk and tackle local social justice issues and other issues in Barron County. I'm working on a grant also to allow this group to be able to take action. Maybe we'll be bringing a speaker in to educate the community, creating a flyer to raise awareness, or an issue is to hold a picnic with law enforcement in an area of the community that may feel neglected, uninvited, or a way to engage with them. That was brought up to me by the St. Croix Tribal Chief. We write a tribal grant every year to do something different. And he said, hey, would you write in there to have a picnic out at the travel property, at the Maple Plain Town Hall or at the community center out there on the travel land with law enforcement, and let's, serve hot dogs or whatever we serve, and let's just hang out and get to know them. And a while ago, I went out there. We did a lot of meth talks. We used to do a lot of meth talks 2 years ago. And I physically walked and left a flyer on every door out at the tribal community. And they were surprised by that. And I'm like, no, that's just who I am. I'm very transparent. I don't have to be on your show, Ben. We don't have to do this show. I don't have to go on Facebook and respond to people. I can just put a press release out there and not talk about it ever again. And there's a lot of law enforcement that do that.
And
that's
and actually, you don't even have to do that. I mean,
right.
You don't even have to put out a press release. Let's say there are some area counties, whether it's the municipalities or the sheriff's office, that they just don't. Right? I mean, unless it's like this huge thing. I mean, there's some, I think I've gotten like 2 press releases in a year and a half. It's like, really, nothing's happening? Like, at all? So, yeah, you don't have to really do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't. And, but I just think it's a way to make people aware. So I plan to have a member of the St. Croix tribal community, the Somali community, and African American community, a student, the faith base, maybe an Amish and Mennonite, it was suggested, recovering substance abuse survivor, a homeless person was suggested yesterday. I had another suggestion I wrote down. But there are several people that sent me notes and comments in a very professional and helpful way that helped me come up with this idea. So I decided to reach out to get different views and perspective. But I still stand with law enforcement and the stand we took with one of our trusted partners. And I just hope they reflect on some of our feelings. We're reflecting on how they felt. I hope there's a way we can get through this together. But I stand with them on their social justice issues. I have no problem with that. But we really felt marginalized as a partner. And again, we're going to move beyond that, though. Now that discussion is not going to take place anymore. Hopefully they've learned, we've learned. Hopefully we can come to some common ground. But we're going to bring people together in Barron County to talk about these issues. There is a lot of race issues that people have told me about that I didn't know about. And I said, that's 100% wrong. Let's tackle that issue. So let's have this committee do it. I have a member. I talked to a member last night that I really wanted to serve on this committee, and that started the Love Your Neighbor rally that happened a couple months ago that asked me to attend that. It wasn't a BLM rally. I mean, there was a lot of people there supporting that, but it was a Love Your Neighbor rally. That's why I attended. That's why Joe, the Barron police chief, attended. That's why we took part in that, because it is love your neighbor. We want to love your neighbor here in Barron County. We do a very good job of that. So while this issue, it's sad that it happened, I think it's going to bring out a lot of good, and we're going to make that good happen. And I'm very, very excited. I haven't been excited about something like this. There was a lot of passion from the tornado and the Kloss case, and I don't know how to bottle that up. And I think this is maybe a way to bottle this up and maybe get it out there to the people. So you can apply. There's a way to apply to be on our team, and hopefully a lot of people do. And it's hard to select people. Right now I only have 10, so that'd be great, because I have a doctor, I have a person from the LGBTQ community, I have a tribal member that applied already. I didn't search these people out. They applied on their own. I don't know. I think I might only know one of the person's name. I had a 70-year-old lady come in here and says, I'm just a church lady, but I'd really like to serve on that committee. I've served in my church for a long time, and I think she was an educator. She wanted to serve on it. Like I said, a retired doctor. I've got a couple students that applied that are in a program at WITC and another college online. I mean, this is awesome that people want to help make this community better and be transparent with us, and let's take on some of these issues.
Well, I think a lot of people can get behind stuff like this, Right. It's a
Well,
way to,
yeah,
we want to be better, and we can't be better until we, figure all these things out. And we need a team of people, and we want to try to do it the right way, and we want everyone's involvement. I mean, it's that positive step forward of, okay, now what can we be doing? I want to go back. You had said, and this sound wildly sarcastic, I don't mean it to be, a homeless person on the committee? So
well,
that just doesn't make any sense to me.
no,
How does that
good,
work?
good thing, and maybe that's a bad choice of a word, but someone that went through a homeless situation, so they
Okay.
can prove what services worked for them, who didn't help them, who
Oh,
should have helped them.
okay.
The same with the substance abuse person, and there was a discussion on Facebook yesterday of like, are you going to pick someone that chose to
Yeah, I saw
get
that.
off drugs on their own, or was forced to by the court? I said that's a
That's a
really
great
good question.
question.
I
Yeah.
never thought about it
Yeah.
that way.
Yep.
And so, I said, well, I hope it's somebody that wants to make a difference in their community. And I don't really, I mean, I get their point. I don't really care how they got clean. If they're clean and they can point out that, boy, the cops could have done this, or human services, or a church could have done this better, or the community, if they would support this, whether it's housing or,
Sure.
I know housing, I'm not trying to drum up a bunch. I know housing is an issue. I know transportation is an issue, but we've got to get to the more core issues. And if there's people being discriminated against or picked on at school or bullying, you know what? Let's do something. Let's
Yeah.
have a public awareness campaign. Let's bring in a speaker. Let's provide training to law enforcement, whatever it is. I don't have all the answers. I never pledged to say I know everything, but I said I'll do my best. And some people are saying that wasn't my best, and maybe it wasn't. But you know what? It got us to a great spot in Barron County, and I literally I can't be more excited about my job right now. And I know there's still people frustrated. Again, that's a different issue for a different day by a different committee. That's not a sheriff. Um, I'm pledging to bring this community together. I don't care about the negativity. I don't care if people still hate me. I'm still going to bring this community together because one, there's a lot of support out there, and one, you can get stuck on Facebook world, especially during this quarantine. And I put that in one of my last sentences. We're all pushed to our limits emotionally, um, among the pandemic and the political issues. We've been pushed very hard emotionally. One is we can't get out and really be with our friends, and really have our friends support us. It's different. It's if I pick up my phone and I say, "Hey Ben, I'm having a bad day," but if I can meet with you or hang out with my friends and we can have a cookout together, there's a little different way to,
Yeah.
separate some of that stuff and feel the love and feel the support. And Facebook isn't that right now, especially with political ads. And we've got to just stop some of this hate. And I don't have the answer to it, and I don't know that we'll ever solve it. But in your media, and I criticize the media a little bit for taking this story on, but it wasn't our local media. But there was a lot of national media that tried to
Yeah.
push this story as something it wasn't. But again, it created great discussion, and we're going to move that discussion forward. We're not going to put it on the back burner and not talk about it ever again, and we're going to keep moving towards a common goal.
Well, I think as
And
long as that discussion is just that, a discussion. Because let's
right.
face it, as you just mentioned, especially Facebook or anything else, boy, that's a blurred line sometimes. Where are we really having
Yeah.
a discussion at this point? It doesn't sound like it.
Right.
So, hey, how
And
many
so,
of those hundreds of notes that you received and communications, what percentage, just ballpark it for me, were constructive, were insightful, were thank you very much for that? And you said you responded to every one of them. So, or maybe you want to do it the other way. How many were like, holy buckets?
yeah,
That's pretty
most of
aggressive.
the voicemails were just basically threats. Um, I just hope you die. I just hope,
Oh,
you
good
know,
night.
just all cops are this and all cops are that, and very few phone calls, were constructive. But a lot of the emails were very constructive. I'm going to say, well, I learned from even some of the people that wouldn't. I had a discussion with a lady who's dead set that I made the wrong decision. And again, I didn't take their $25,000
Yeah, yeah.
away. I get that I was part of that discussion, but like I said, I didn't have any of the 10 votes that removed that money. But again, I'm part of it. I understand that I'm taking responsibility for some of that. But I didn't vote. It isn't part of my budget and things like that. But again, moving forward, but I learned from that lady when we had a discussion back and forth, and I wasn't trying to convince her. I'm not trying to convince anybody to side with me. I'm just trying to say we can all do better,
Yeah.
and it's not about a win. It's to find a common goal. And, I'm not looking for a win. I'm not looking to backtrack. I'm not looking to, I feel bad that there's so much hate. That's what I struggled with personally, is all this hate, and somehow I created this hate, and it wasn't me. I was standing up for our police officers, and some people will say that's, you don't need to because it was a sign, or it was this, or it was that. They didn't mean it that way. Well, that's not how we took it. Yeah. And we felt marginalized by a true partner, and I'm sure they felt marginalized by us. But we can move forward beyond this and
well, I know
figure it out.
I called you towards the end of the week, and I apologized to you. I didn't want to do it in an email or a text, and I know it sounds like jokingly and funny now, but I was serious, man. That was like, I'm sorry that we did, because I look back, as you said, if I could do it over again, would I do it differently? Well, of course, there's always things that you can look back. I can look through like a headline from yesterday and go, oh, would have been a better headline. I don't regret anything because, when I first did that story, I think on Monday afternoon, just send it to everybody. Everyone make your own statements, and I just publish all the statements in, basically in order form. But everyone had the same amount, and because I'm not that great of a writer, I'm not the Washington Post. This is the best that I know how to do it. Is the best that I can do, and I try to do it in the most neutral, unbiased way possible. And I know that a couple days later, when WPR had their story that night, I'd seen one of the actually members from Embrace that we know very well. So I know her personally. My mom does, and professionally. And I'd seen on her Facebook page, I'd shared the WPR, and I think put in this little caption right above it that if you actually want to read the real story from an unbiased news source, I took that really hard, man. I really did, and boy, that night I was in a dark place. Not like homicidal or suicidal, somewhere in the middle there. But no kidding, like my mental health, it was rough.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I have my wife in my life, because that was bad. But the positive there anyway was, I was even thinking that night, I'm like, that's it. I'm never running a press release from them again, and I'm never doing anything. I was just in that, that place. But that next morning, my wife and I, we always get up early. We start a Bible study around 4 in. And we were reading through it, and we're in Matthew, so it had nothing to do with any of this stuff. But when I finished, I went outside for my morning cigars, just kind of my routine, and I was standing in the driveway, and I just had this peace come over me, right? And God's just saying, that's not what I want you to do. Turn the other cheek and find the positives and find ways that you can still be an advocate for me. And I need to be a good example for him. So, boy, that I can tell you, the positives that came out of it were great for me. But, boy, that night before, man, that was rough. That was hard. And it's just interesting that they don't even realize that, man, I would think you of all people would know that words, man, that stuff hurts.
Yeah. And I didn't, and you gave all the sides an opportunity to speak. It's not like you didn't give Embrace or didn't give the sheriff's department. And a lot of the context, I made this, we laugh and we joke a lot in this show, and we have a little fun, and we take on some serious issues, and we talk the truth on how we feel. Yeah. And some of those articles took our show and took a segment of that show, a very short segment, and said he compared this to dolphins, and we weren't comparing. It had nothing to do with anybody of a color, race, sex, creed. We were talking about two organizations and how we need. There was you called it a bad breakup. I said it's a fish in the ocean. I said it right after I said it. I said that was a very poor example, but that's what I came up with. Yeah. But of course, they didn't print that part, which irritates me. That our media is taking part. If you're going to take it, take the whole statement, and that's not fair. I said it. I said it was a bad example, and everybody's using that as a racial thing, and it had nothing to do. We weren't even talking. We were talking about Embrace and the sheriff's department and how we should fit together and how we wish we would and all that. But again, that's where the media. I felt I've always trusted the media, probably to a fault, and I continue to trust the media. I always trust our local media because I feel always treat us fair. But always the media has treated us and said our statements. And I didn't think we were treated as fair as we could have been. I get there's an issue. There's a story here. I have no problem talking about the story. Otherwise, I wouldn't put out another press release, or I wouldn't try to fix the solution. But we have feelings too, and this isn't about hurt feelings, and the sheriff's department shouldn't take their hurt feelings and take their ball and go home. We did it. Yeah, and we did it very unpublicly, and we never said you have to stop doing anything. We just said we can't be part of this team. This isn't the game that we signed up to play.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but if I was biased, I would not have put in, because the last statement I was waiting for in that, I think, was from the Washington County Chief Deputy, because there was 2 stories in one. That's the only way I could kind of do it. And that last one he sent, I'm like, I don't know if I'd say all that. I mean, that's not gonna that could upset some people. But hey, that's what you said, and you sent it, so that's what I'm publishing, and that's what I'm putting up. But there was a part of me that was, man, I kind of feel like I should just, I'll just use a part of what he said. Or maybe I could just reword. I'm like, nope, that's not what I do. That's what it is. But yeah, I think there was a couple of aggressive statements in there, or some comments in there. But again, that's not mine. My job is just to put it in the story form and then disseminate that. But I think do we have any questions? I saw that we have.
We've got we actually got some nice comments.
Well, wait till later.
Yeah. No, again, I think that positivity is what needs to come out of this, and on all sides, and we'll get there. And I'm very excited. Yeah.
And Embrace is doing very well. Again, they've raised, the last time I checked, like 80, 90, or like $100,000. I mean, it's freaking fantastic. Good for them. And it looks like, obviously, with your citizen action, I'm going to keep saying it wrong. What is it?
Citizen advisory in action. We always forget the word advisory.
You know what? Is that an acronym? CAAT?
No, I didn't come up with an acronym.
Dude.
Yeah, CAAT. And, I guess it's that. Citizen Action Advisory. We'll put that on our bulletproof vest, and we'll go out and we'll take on the world. I don't know. Right.
So when if people do want more information to do that, to apply, where do they do that?
Send an email, send a letter to the Sheriff's Department. I'm going to wait here until early November, and then we'll look at this. I have some, like I said, not pre-selected people, but pre-selected divisions of our community that I want representative. I think I have all of those with people that I want. I don't want a yes. This isn't about a yes committee for the sheriff. It does me no good if I'm going to do that. These people are challenged me. They challenged me in this topic. They've challenged me at other topics, and I'm not looking for that. So I think I'm hoping I can find 6 core people and maybe have them pick 6 more people. And so I don't know exactly. Awesome. I was told, again, somebody gave me some great that the Eau Claire Police Department has something very similar to this. So I'm reaching out to them. Hopefully they have something we can do.
Right.
But this is just to go out and tackle some issues in our community that where some people want to make a difference, and that's what it's about. So again, probably enough on that topic. We appreciate all the support that people give us on this topic and gives Embrace. This isn't about a win. This isn't about taking down somebody or doing. It's about building back up, and at the same time, we've all got to learn. And I couldn't be more excited, because I agree. I wasn't in a dark place. I mean, I know what you're saying when you say that, but I was bummed. I just don't like negativity. I'm not that type of person, and I understand, but sometimes you need negativity for positivity to come out.
You can find a positive out of it, right? Positive Tuesdays.
But I think you made a very good point that words hurt. And I think by sharing some of these articles and doing some of that, words hurt. And we all, we didn't share anything except our own stuff. And, but I'm more cautious of the media now. I wish I never had that opportunity. I wish I wouldn't feel that way. And I'm sure we'll get back to a place, but there wasn't a complete picture out there for either side, and so that was what I was very disheartened with, and I guess, and that's why I sent out what I sent, because I wanted a big picture. Whether the media prints it or not, it's on our Facebook page. People that really follow us,
We printed it.
Oh yeah,
published it.
I know the radio station did. I know our local media will.
Good.
But and that's really, I got to think about the four walls of Barron County. And again, the people from Atlanta, Georgia that called, that were very angry, I'm sorry. The lady from Florida, I respect her. In fact, I'm going to send her a challenge coin because she really had some great input and some great back and forth with me over an email. And I think that's what's really cool about this is we can reach out and make a difference. And that's where I got the idea. So, but there's about 3 ladies out there that really made an impact on this, and I plan on thanking them. So let's move on to something.
Let's more positive stuff. Positive COVID stuff.
Positive COVID stuff, yeah. Holy man. And I think one of the news articles interviewed me about COVID yesterday because obviously we went through this and my family and obviously my parents have since gotten COVID and have recovered from COVID, but it sucks and I wish them well and everybody recovering from COVID well. But I think three, and I had never really thought of it because I'm a bad example of COVID because I still functioned every day. I had a cough. I didn't lose my taste, my smell. I didn't lose. So I'm a bad example of COVID. So I don't want to say, well, the sheriff got COVID and nothing happened to him, so it can't be that bad.
Right.
Because I'm talking about it. But, I had other members of both my extended family, not my family, my wife and my kids did not get COVID. My extended family got it, and there were some issues. But again, everybody's okay and at home. People in my staff have gotten COVID. Not related to me, but have gotten COVID and had symptoms. So I think the first thing you got to do is if you feel sick, go get tested. I think that's the key point. Once you get tested, stay home and start your quarantine process. If you're negative, then you've only had to quarantine for 24 or 48 hours. If you're positive, your 2 days starts then, and you don't have to go back to a close contact list of a major close contact list, which we're into emergency close contacts only. So right now, public health isn't calling everybody in America that you had contact with. They're telling you have to do that, which is somewhat dangerous because some people might not be calling their close contacts either, right, which then doesn't help stop the spread. And when you say quarantine and you have it, stay quarantined, stay away from your family. I think those are 3 key points that we need to start keying on. And I think everybody's doing a pretty good job about all of this stuff, but it's just we got to drop these numbers. I feel really bad for our mental health too. I feel really bad for everyone's mental health, but I feel for our public health and our doctors and our nurses and our hospitals right now are struggling. And I know we picked them up in March and April, and we said we got to do this. But if anybody needs a pickup right now, it's our public health and our doctors and our nurses. So please, if you know a nurse tonight, go out and thank them. A doctor, thank them.
Well, don't go out and thank them. Just send them a text message or an email or call them.
Right.
At home with your mask on, in your own room.
Right. So, in your mask. So COVID, the numbers are skyrocketing. We've got to do something. I don't have the solution. I don't want to close. Don't want to.
What's the point of having you on the show if you don't give us the answers?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess my quote this week in some national newspaper will be: the sheriff doesn't have answer for COVID. There's the headline for whoever wants to print it. I don't know. So you can't have a little fun, but we got it.
Yeah.
It's just we're getting there.
Yeah,
so.
And we're already way over our time limit. So let me just get to a couple of things here we wanted to talk about. Obviously the weather, right? Today starts some snow coming in.
Snow tonight. So we have approximately 2 to 4 to 5 inches. I met with our highway department last night. They're ready. They're going to be out salting and sanding tonight. I met with some of the guys here this morning. We had a health screen. My blood pressure was a little high. I'm like, I wonder why. Wasn't too bad though. I don't have to go to the doctor or anything like that. Nice. So, but my wife beat me in our health scores again this morning. So I was practicing and trying to get healthier. But we're gonna have snow tonight, 2 to 5 inches. The road shouldn't be too bad because the road temperature is still warm.
I think it's been
Thursday
updated.
morning.
I think it's been updated.
Is not looking. What's that?
I think it's been updated. I put it up this morning. It's 3 to 6 now, I think, and it starts around noon.
You're north of us, though.
I think that included your area. I don't know. I'll have to check.
I don't know. You got yours from the media? Where did you get your information?
National Weather Service. The media. I
don't know.
got it from Breitbart, so you know it's accurate.
Yeah. I went out and looked at the sun and measured. No,
Feel like 2 inches.
it feels. I stuck my
That's great.
Anyway, Thursday morning, we're a little bit concerned about. There's supposed to be some rain in there. So Thursday, the road conditions may look okay, but not be okay. Bridges, decks are very important this time of the year. They freeze first. Besides that, because of the roads and the different way the concrete works on a bridge versus a blacktop. So be careful of bridge decks. And then Sunday now is looking like we may get a more of an accumulation on Sunday. I'm looking at the Weather Service. The highs over the next 4 days is 36, 33, 34. Those are the highs. We're down to 15, 18, 20 for the lows over the weekend. 36 on Friday, 17 is the low.
That might help with, again, not saying this sarcastically, unless you take it that way, and that's fine too. That might help with some COVID numbers, right? I'm just saying, if you're maybe now you're stuck inside. Well, at least you're not going out. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe
right.
Maybe at the end of the week it'll be a little bit lower.
There's something to that. I wonder. I don't want people, but if we get stuck inside for a snowstorm, I wonder if it would slow our cases down just a tad.
I know. Right.
So, you publish all the alerts that our public health sends out about bars and restaurants and movie theaters. And
by the way, Barron County does a phenomenal job of sending that information out. I mean, good night. I don't know how they must have got like 30 people that work there.
Right.
Because
no, we don't, but they have a great public relation person. We have Laura Savi and her staff are pushed to their limits. But again, we also get very criticized for putting all those out. People are like, you're just picking on restaurants. You're just picking on. I mean, you look at some of those comments again on Facebook. I mean, the comments have to stop. They're not doing it to just do it. I just don't understand. Anyway, so I love this comment. You're not.
Oh, what are they?
There's some good comments on.
Oh, they are. All right, let's quit. Well, that was our show. Let me just let's give a shout out to everybody.
I want to tell you one more thing.
Oh,
we have a deputy retiring on Friday after 24 and a half years here.
What?
Deputy Dave Kuffel. Deputy Dave served as our school liaison officer over the last, I think, 4 or 5 years for the Barron Cameron. He started out working for all the school districts in Barron County, and then as more school liaisons were brought back in, he transitioned the last 2 years. So Deputy Dave is retiring on Friday. We want to wish him well. He's going on to a new endeavor. But he's served in, I think, every capacity, and from a jailer to a dispatcher to a patrolman to a drug investigator to a school liaison. So I want to wish Deputy Dave, if you see him out this week, wish him well.
Is that Deputy Dave? Is his name actually Deputy Dave on Facebook?
No.
Okay.
On Facebook. Yes, it is on Facebook, Deputy Dave.
Yeah, I see that, and I think we're friends. I don't know him at all, but I see some things. I didn't know who that, that's who it was because I didn't know the person.
Yeah, Dave Kuffel, again, we want to wish him well and thank him for his service to the citizens of Barron County.
Thank you, Dave.
And his last day is Friday, and he's served all 25 years here at the Sheriff's Department. So we wish him well and excited he's going to stay in our community and be a member of our community and just move on to something a little bit probably more relaxing than law enforcement. So we wish him well.
You should put him on your committee.
No.
Yeah. No.
I think he wants out of law enforcement.
Yeah, not a bad idea. So just kind of skimming through from the top. Thank you, Beth, for your comment. I wish Barron County would, I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of these up before we finish up. I didn't get around to it earlier. Your article, Mike, I don't know how you say that. The media is a joke. Aw. How they get away with what they do is so beyond me.
Right. But he's got a point.
I don't think he's talking about me.
No, I don't know. I'm kind of I don't know him either. But I agree. It sucks and yeah.
Well, as always,
you guys watching us in Montana.
Yeah,
thanks for watching.
That's crazy. That's nuts. COVID is rough here in Montana as well.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone is ringing. I'm good. I didn't turn it off.
Could be like a murder or something, but we'll look at the comments.
The sheriff work live. Maybe we should just leave this up all day and I can work live.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for the nice comments, which that's not usually normal.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is. I don't know. You know what? Actually, it is. Now I think about it. I mean, who doesn't like you, Chris? Come on.
Yeah. Well, I can give you a list. we're all good. There was some misunderstanding, not a lot of information.
Yeah.
We'll get through it. I'm very excited about what the future has for Barron County, and we're gonna do some more great things here, which is exactly what we need to do right now. Is concentrate on efforts on something good out there, and get rid of politics and COVID and all this other stuff, and we'll concentrate. But just everyone be safe with the weather, be safe with COVID, and thanks for the support, the words, the arguments, the kindness, and not the threats. I don't care about that.
And that one we can do without. Yeah.
The hate stops now, and that's maybe our new slogan. So, but excited about what we're moving forward.
And look for more. Look for a couple of other political ads
coming
out. I'm gonna do one against another.
Do you
one against
control what she puts up though? Is that not?
Yeah, so I did it first, and it was against her, right? And then I said, you should do it. And she goes, I don't know how to do one of those. I said, well, hire a campaign manager. She goes, all right, you're my campaign manager. So see, that's how good I am, where I can I can remove myself from the equation, and I can put on my campaign manager hat and do it for her, even though I'm writing an ad that is attacking myself.
Right.
See, that's really good. And it's just about plans for, it's a plan. And actually, we think we may even have people vote on this on November. It's really silly. And we'll explain more of that next time. We'll put some more stuff out on our Facebook page. I know that, like, for my plan, I'm not going to tell you my plan until I get elected. I'm going the Joe Biden route. You got to vote for me before I tell you my plan. And then I'm taking the Donald Trump approach and just going all negative. We're going to see how it works.
You're going to be the cause of our next controversy. I can see that.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. All right, man. Chris, as always, thank you so much for being open about this, for talking about this, for continuing to come on. When I asked you this last weekend, if we're doing a show on Tuesday, you had said, we need to. And because we try to take like one Tuesday off a month. And I think we're around that time right now to do that. But yeah, you still want to come on. You still want to talk about it. And I get some of these conversations aren't always the most fun, or they're maybe controversial, or there's a lot of strong opinions. But once again, thank you for continuing to do it and letting people know exactly what you think, and doing these things, and not just doing them, but doing them live. You're gonna say something every once in a while that may get taken out of context.
Man, I tried for 12 years to beat that, but I lost. Finally, the media got me, and whatever, they got me. So
got me.
You got me. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's so far taken out of context, but it's whatever.
That's right. Positive. We're moving forward.
I appreciate the platform to do it on, and I thank our listeners, and we'll see you next week, hopefully, and we'll figure it out.
You got it. Thanks, Fitzy. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe, keep your social distance, and have a blessed day.